We're just okay, and we play some
Movies.
games. We're just okay.
Movie
games.
watchers.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Okay Movies. I'm your host, little baby alien Biggie-size, and I'm here with...
Possibly a cyborg Gweedo.
Ooh,
I guess
good
it would
choice.
technically be an android. What's the difference between a cyborg and an android?
That's what I was about to say. I guess in my mind, I think a cyborg is like it has the carcass of like an animal or whatever, or a human, but it's got like implants, so it's like enhanced. But maybe
Okay.
that's not true. That's just how I kind of think about it, like with cyborg and stuff like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sure. But like, what's the difference between an android and a robot? Are they just the same thing?
I think an android would have to take on a very human-like visage.
Interesting. Yeah, where a robot could just be like a mechanical arm or something, but an android has intelligence to some degree. Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
So
hey.
that would make RoboCop a cyborg.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's no robot. Son of a bitch.
They've lied to us.
They've lied. How did I never put the pieces together? Well, Gweedo, how you doing, man? Good discussion. I like that.
Yeah, nice. I'm all right. I'm sad. I'm a little sad.
Well, why are you sad, buddy?
Because the month of October is over.
I couldn't agree
It's
more.
October.
Ooh, very nice. I agree, man. It has been an absolute blast doing 4 horror film reviews and getting together and watching it every week. It has really been so much fun. And, it's actually what's made it a lot of fun is hearing people's opinions after we've watched it. Like, make sure to join discord.gg/justokgamers, because we will probably be watching a film at who knows when. That's where you'll find out if we're going to be watching one. So definitely join in. But it's been a blast getting to hear everyone's opinions after we've watched it. People saying, oh, it was corny. Oh, it was really good. And just having little discussions. And it's been a blast. So I am really sad to see this themed month to be over. But I would have to say we ended it with a bang. Alien is a fantastic movie, and I can definitely see why whenever I would say, oh, I've never seen Alien before, I would get weird looks like, oh my god, how have you not seen this film? And everyone knows what it is, even if you're a sci-fi fan or not. It's just a massive franchise, and it's just viewed as like, it's a cool looking alien, a neat setting in space. It's kind of creepy, but the film is so well done. It's shocking. Even a film, how old is this film? 30 years old?
Yeah,
Something like
1979. It is officially the oldest movie we've reviewed on this show.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Huh, well, that's interesting. Well, I gotta say, it doesn't look it. I don't think it looks its age. I think you could easily say this film could have been done in like the 90s. Mainly just because it was shot so well. The sets, no CGI of any kind. They wouldn't have really had it at that point, but it didn't need it because the story itself was nice and fairly simplistic. The sets are just so dense with detail. That's what got me the most. All the ship interior, the outsides, it's mostly just, you can't see very far because there's like a storm going on. So they look okay, but the ship detail is just stellar, and the use of lighting is what got me more than anything. There's like a nice like fog in some of the rooms, and you kind of imagine it's a very industrial ship. It's not the nicest ship of the fleet, it's been lived in and worked on, so you're going to have like it looking a little rough. So the lighting and everything just works to its advantage, and seeing like the steel pipes and stuff around it already feels eerie in how industrial it looks. So then when you're having to run for this alien and he could be in any corner, the ship is kind of dark and musty and everything. It just adds to that intensity. And I think that's what got me more than anything was just how great the film looked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good looking film. It holds up for the most part. Like the outfits and costume design, it's in the future, so you can see all these people, and they're on a mining vessel, or I think it was a mining vessel, or like a mining scouting vessel.
See, that's the part that threw me off was, and maybe you can help clarify, because it made it sound like they were miners, but then they were mentioning about trying to go finding like more inhabitable planets, and maybe that's just like a side mission, or they're like a scouting expedition to like go and find worlds they can mine. That's the part I didn't quite understand their mission and what they were trying to do.
Yeah, sure. I think they're on the Nostromo. It was the name of the ship. And they are in search of something. I think to mine. I think it was a mining vessel. And they were all miners. And they're just trying to find a place to grab stuff. Yeah, whatever they're mining. And then a distress call comes in, and then the whole mining thing, it's out the window. Like, you don't have to worry about them mining anything. They're now on a rescue mission because it's stated early on in the film that if there's a distress call, they're legally obliged to go and investigate it, which they did. And two of their members go off the ship. They go to take a look, see what's there. One of them finds an egg. Egg breaks open. His face mask gets shattered. They take him back to the ship, and that's where bad things start happening. Alien things.
And man, does it look so good. Like, first it starts with what we now know is kind of the face hugger. I don't know if it's got another name for it, but it's an iconic enemy, you know, and you see it even in games like Half-Life where it uses that as inspiration. You know, it infects the host by latching onto their face. And this thing is latched onto this guy's face for probably like 20, 25 minutes of the film while they talk about what the hell are we supposed to do. We can't cut it because acid falls out of it and burns through the ship, so we're in a real pickle. And then eventually it comes off its face and hides and just dies, I think. And then the guy gets back up and he's fine and everything, but then you have the iconic scene that if you know anything about Alien other than the design of the alien, you know of this scene. And that's when the guy's chest just bursts open. You got this little baby alien that just like runs across the table and hides. Yeah. And it's so hilarious. It's cute. It was adorable. I was like, oh, look at that little fella. And maybe that's just
he bursts out of the chest and then just kind of like looks at everyone. He just looks around the room like, meow.
Hello. Hello and there.
Then, pew, takes off.
That definitely looked a little dated, but it was still wonderful. Such a great scene. And yeah, and that's what Gweedo said. The rest of the time in the film, they're trying to hunt it down because they already know that it could damage the ship with whatever acid or whatever it has in its body. It's already killed one guy. And that's what they're doing the rest of the time, is trying to hunt this thing down and kill it. The only way that they can find it, though, is they put together like this machine that can... How did they word that? It can sense if the density of the air changes in the room, and they can kind of track it. So, you know, that's kind of cool. But that's the only way they can find it. So a lot of them are going around, they're looking at this machine, and it just starts beeping, and the higher the beeps get, the closer he is. So that adds a lot of tension as well. But I think the best scene is when the captain goes into the vents. They figure out that he's running around the vents, that's how he's getting around the ship, and he takes a flamethrower. And what impressed me so much was these vents are tiny, so the actor had to really like squat down to get in there. It looked kind of like a Jeffries tube in Star Trek, you know, real tight and closed. But he's got this big flame, real fire, like close to his face while he crawls around. And I'm like, there's no way they would let an actor do that now. They just CGI it. Because hell, if he slipped, his face would have gone into that fire. And you know, shit, then you got to pay insurance and all that stuff. So kudos to them for like having an open flame in such a small contained area. Like that's the 80s, man. They didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't give a shit. And especially Ridley Scott definitely did not give a shit. He did a few things on this movie that were like deceptive to the crew. Namely, one of them was he reportedly didn't let anyone really know about the chest burster scene.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So they had the actor, who was it, John Hurt? He knew, of course, because he was doing it, and started thrashing about and got their reactions as to like, what the fuck's going on? They might have even been they might have probably known that he was going to die and spit blood, but maybe they didn't know that the alien was going to pop out and run across the table.
That is so cool. Oh my God.
And also Ridley Scott, one of the actors, the black guy, who's a funny character. He had a lot of good lines. Just kind of like a bullshitter throughout the movie. Ridley Scott told him to just off camera be annoying to Sigourney Weaver, to just annoy her and like be kind of a jerk, so that when she would have those lines where she was like, "Shut the fuck up, dude," they were real. They were coming from a real place. So Ridley Scott, man, he's a tricky fucking filmmaker, dude.
Dude, that is very tricky, man. I would have never guessed that, but I was going to lead into my next point is the crew is probably the best part of the film because they really feel like they're like they're a crew, like they've been together for a really long time, and everyone just felt so natural in their roles, and I absolutely loved it because it just added more to that intensity. You know, here you have this incredible set that just seems like this ship has been on hundreds of missions, and you got this crew that just feels so organic, especially for just, you know, this is one film and this is the first time you're seeing them and you already feel like they've been together for years. And that just adds more to the scenes where things are starting to go awry, like with the guy having the face thing on his face and all that stuff just felt so raw and real. So that's very interesting to Ridley Scott. I definitely give him a point for that. Very nice. Oh, no, I still think he's a complete hack, and I'll probably mention that a little later. Oh, yeah, this... We'll get to that here in a moment afterwards. I think one of the coolest aspects of the film was this artificial intelligence, I guess you would call it, maybe?
Mother.
Oh, Mother. And I didn't quite understand what to think of it. For what I understand is this artificial intelligence or whatever it is controls the ship, controls everything, and apparently receives orders directly from the corporation, whoever they're contracted from. At least that's what we're told. And the captain and the science officer are the two that have direct communication with it. So they'll like ask them questions like, what should we do next? And then Mother will say, oh, yeah, do this or whatever. Well, they come out of hibernation when they're traveling back home. They still have 10 months to go until they reach Earth, and they're awake, and they're like, why are we awake now? And then the captain goes to talk to Mother and receives orders that they're to find this distress signal and figure out what it is. And like what Gweedo was talking about earlier. But also we find out later that the science officer has also received orders. Apparently, someone either at the corporation or Mother herself or wherever know that there's an alien or some sort of life form on this planet. Like somehow they have knowledge. At least that's what I took from it. Did you get the same thing?
I felt like it was more he was witnessing it firsthand and reporting back to it.
I see. And then it was saying, okay, you need to save it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
okay.
Generally, the Wayland Corporation, you learn later on in movies, is a shisty bastard. They will throw human lives away for a chance to get something like this, to capture it and bring it back to Earth.
Gotcha. That was going to be my next question. The only thing other than the alien itself and Sigourney Weaver's character that I know about the Alien series is, what is it, like Wayland Bukaki or something like that? Like, what are they called?
Yeah, Wayland Bukaki.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
That makes sense why the android has all that white stuff in him then.
Right, yeah.
Right,
Just
right. It all adds
totally
into it.
having that actor just spewing out semen out of his mouth during the scene where he gets clobbered.
That scene was great. I had no idea that they had like androids and stuff like that in this universe, and the because he was acting so strange, and I don't remember if any one thing set him off. Like, I don't remember him getting injured or anything, but he just starts acting really strange.
Right.
And he's like super strong too, because he's like flinging Sigourney Weaver like all around the room, and you're like, wow, holy crap, because he's just a normal built British guy, you know, nothing crazy or anything. And then when she like, how was it? She take like a pole or something, just like whacks his head off.
The black guy does, like, has like a pole and hits him while he's stuffing a magazine down her throat.
Oh, yeah. What the hell was up with that? That almost felt improv. Like, who in the world would write that he picks up a magazine, rolls it up, and tries to shove it down her throat?
Yeah.
Like, how do you
Very
explain
weird.
that? Like, I mean, he's strong enough, he could probably just like snap her neck or punch her to death, but he's just like, oh, magazine. You know, that old chestnut. Let's go with that. Hey, I give him an A for effort for creativity. But no, like the insides of him was so cool. Like, these androids are like, they have like so many like organic parts inside of them. It's so weird. It kind of reminded me of like a bunch of tubes and like a bunch of shrimp was covered in milk. Like, it is just so unique, and I love that so much.
Yeah, it's cool. Definitely Carpenter does it a little bit better, I feel, in the second one, with a very memorable character of Bishop, who turns out to be a good android, but Sigourney Weaver doesn't trust him at all the whole movie. So there's that whole you know, what's the word? It's escaping me. When two people have a good working relationship.
Okay.
What's the word for that?
Chemistry? Good synergy?
Whatever. It's you guys understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're making total sense. No, that is cool knowing that she just about died from magazine inhalation from a robot. No,
yeah,
that's cool.
But
no,
yeah, all those practical effects regarding the android, and there's some clips where they're hooking back up the head, and you see that it's a model of the actor's head, and they do a very quick cut to her placing it properly on the table, and it turns into the actual actor's head, sticking out of a hole in the table. That you kind of catch, but for the time, man, very good, very cool.
Oh, definitely. No, everything in the film it really looks nice, and I have to say it, for sci-fi ships, I just love when they have just a shit ton of buttons and CRTs. It just looks and feels so great, because that's kind of the one problem I have with like the new Star Trek films, the Kelvin timeline ones, whatever you want to call them. The ship looks great, and of course the Enterprise at that time is like the top of the line ship of the fleet, but everything's a touch screen, and it doesn't have the same feeling as people just having to punch just a shit ton of buttons, and you have no idea what it's doing, but it just looks cool, and it's just satisfying to hear those clicks and the shitty monitors and stuff, which, I think it fits what they were trying to go for with this ship. It's not the top of the line. It's just a working ship that's probably a few generations behind, but just feels so natural and organic. And it's just nice to have something like that.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any right now sci-fi movies that have the current technology that we have. So in Alien and in other sci-fi movies of that era, they had the CRTs with the green text displays and all the buttons and stuff of the time. It was what they couldn't think ahead, I guess, to what it would be in the future.
Sure.
Or they just couldn't comprehend it, so they took what was far enough in the future for them and put it on the screen, which was just screens and whatnot. But we don't have. I can't think of off the top of my head anything with like flat panel LED like displays that we currently have, or touch screen went directly to this weird haptic kind of clear backed glass panel see-through touchscreens that you can operate from not actually touching the screen, just waving your hand in front of it. So I wonder why that leap happened. Why don't where's the movies that have the current technology of just an actual big tablet display that they have to press and make fingerprints and smudges all over and shit?
That's a great question. Yeah, I totally agree. We don't really have that middle ground. I guess it's more exciting. That's my only guess.
You don't have to answer this, Biggie. I'm just pontificating.
I really want to, but I can't. But no, ultimately, my only negative about the film, and it's a tiny, tiny one, and I know it's a negative or positive that comes up often, and it's pacing. It's a pretty slow-moving film, and it works to its advantage. I would say my negative in that, though, is there's way too many establishing shots, where you're just, like, seeing this establishing shot of this alien ship, like, felt like 20 different times, and it hasn't changed at all. And it's like, just little stuff like that could have helped tune the film a bit more.
Hey, man, they spent the money on that model. They're going to fucking film it.
At least it's a model. That does make me happy. And it's a nice looking one, too. But it's just little things like that I felt like could have been cut out just to kind of tighten the story up a bit, because there's not a lot of action scenes. It's a lot of atmosphere, people trying to plan, they're scared to death, arguing with each other. I mean, shit, I think in the film, other than the little baby one, the full-grown alien that you think of when you think of the franchise, you may see it, 4 or 5 times? 6 times maybe? It's not very much.
Yeah, and when you do see it, it's always these super ultra up close shots of like its mouth and stuff.
Yes.
But hey, a testament to H.R. Giger, who created that.
Oh, it's a great design. It's
classic,
iconic.
Iconic.
It's not too complicated. It's very alien. I can't come up with anything else to explain it, but it's just so interesting in its design. Especially, the head. That design of the head, like you just see a silhouette of that, you automatically know alien. There's nothing else that looks like it. And even the close up, I will say it's a person in a rubber suit, but man, the design just looks so good up close. I guess the one thing that bummed me out a little bit was you don't get to see the alien move around on its own quite a bit. It's really, he's like hanging on something or hidden against the wall, stuff like that. Maybe it's just because seeing a guy run around the suit just didn't look very good at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe they were limited on how they could really make that thing look fantastic. So they're trying to use, shadows and stuff to kind of hide maybe some of the, I hate to say defects, but maybe stuff like that of the suit. So that makes sense. And it works for what it is. But it would have been nice to see that a bit more. But ultimately, it wasn't about the alien as much as it was about these people, all very different in their own ways, trying to get out of this situation and how they want to go about doing it. Although, I don't understand why she went back and tried to turn off the self-destruct. What happens is, we get to the very end of the film, she's going to just blow the ship up and get into their escape ship and just leave. At this point, it's just her. She goes and does it, and then begins to leave, And I think at that point she encounters the alien and she runs away. And then she decides to turn off the self-destruct. Is it just because she encountered it? Or was there another reason why she wanted to turn it off? I didn't understand her reasoning for that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm having trouble thinking of a good reason why. I'm sure it's very obvious, and we're just two schmucks that don't know. But
I mean, yeah. I mean, no dialogue or anything's happening. You know, she doesn't have like any kind of like flashback, like, oh no, I gotta go save this person, or you know, or something. It's just her and the cat, and I mean, to the life of me, I just can't imagine why she didn't want to turn around and right when she's like right there to get onto that ship, and she goes and tries to turn off the self-destruct. Then she just has to go back there again, anyways. I don't know. I agree. I don't know if there's just some sort of context or something that I'm just missing, or the only thing I could think of was like she's like, no, I want to kill it myself, but it's not really like that.
When she encountered it, was it like blocking the ship that she needed to use to escape?
Well, you see, that's what I was. Right, that's what I was kind of thinking too. But if I'm remembering correctly, she goes up to that room where she would then drop down and get into the ship. She encounters the alien. She drops the kitty, and she's like backing away, but she doesn't see it again. And then she runs back and turns off the self-destruct. Well, tries to, but it fails. She ran out of time, and she gets pissed at Mother for it, which I guess she's just frustrated. I can understand that. And then she just goes back again without any regard of the alien and jumps in and leaves. So maybe that's why. That's the only logical thing I could think of, is the alien was there. She was too scared to continue forward, even though she had the flamethrower and all that. And she's just going to turn it off and wait it out or something. I
think it was blocking the way.
Okay.
That's the only thing that makes sense. But then to just go immediately back and hop right in the ship, which I guess explains its absence from the path, is because it's in the ship with her.
Exactly. It was smart enough to know that maybe she didn't have enough time, and he just went ahead and jumped into the ship, which makes me so sad when she encounters it, because it's just laying there asleep. He's just a tired little alien. He's been killing everyone, running around all day. He's like, I just need to take a fucking nap. And he's just laying there, and she like bumps into him, and he just goes like, and then just lays back down. I'm like, oh. Either he's like your new best friend, or he just doesn't view you as a threat. Like, I'll just eat you later. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of think
the second movie could be like a buddy cop movie of the alien creature and Ripley and the cat going around the universe trying to solve crimes.
Exactly. That's what the fans want.
They want Why didn't they listen? They gave us just more aliens in the second one. Come on.
Come on. What are you thinking? It's right there. Oh my god. Well, she blows him out of the airlock and hops in the thing and takes a nap, and apparently that's where the second one picks up from.
Yeah, like it's many years later. Many years later. I think like 50 years later. She's just in stasis for that whole time, and they pick her up.
So is it like Wayland Biryani or whatever, they come by and find her, or how's that happen?
Yeah, I think she's just found and returned to Earth, and I vaguely remember like her daughter being really old. And her having to like deal with that, but maybe not. Maybe that's one of the other movies. And they recruit her because they know going into it that there's some sort of issue with the transmission that they found. They were definitely trying to terraform a new planet. They had a colony set up on a planet that they were terraforming, and it gets overrun by something, or they're just not responding, and they decide to bring Ripley with
Bill Paxton,
because she's Yep, Bill Paxton. And who else is in that movie? Is Ron Perlman in that one?
Oh, really?
Or maybe not. Maybe Ron Perlman's in one of the later ones.
Ooh. Damn. I hope he's in that one. Bill Paxton and Ron Perlman.
He's probably in one of the. He's not. I think he's a little too young to be in that movie.
Gotcha.
Or maybe not. I don't know. But the dude that plays Bishop is like a character actor that you've seen 100 times. His name escapes me, and he does a really good job in that one in Aliens. And there's a little girl named Newt. Yeah, you should definitely watch the second one if you enjoyed this one.
Nice. I'm definitely interested. I'm really interested in continuing that story because I know the Aliens is probably the more iconic one than Alien. It's always on one of those like the movies where the sequel's better than the original kind of thing with them and Terminator 2 and Godfather Part 2, all those. Disagree about the Godfather Part 2 one. I always thought the first one was a lot better. But either how. All right, so Ridley Scott, I want to just talk about him for just a second. Just to, because a lot of people have mentioned, Russell, you think Ridley Scott's a hack, and he is. And seeing this film, his breakout movie. I mean, this movie made a shit zillion dollars for back then. I was looking at the numbers today. It was like the movie cost $11 million, which that's 1979, so I'm not sure. Maybe that's like $50 million. I no idea in today's money. And it made like worldwide like $220 million. Like that's insane. That's a shit ton of money on a brand new IP. Completely original IP. It's awesome. And this was his movie that put him on the map. And I could definitely see why. Because it is just a solid film. Beginning to end. Script's great. Pacing's pretty good. The sets are just mind-boggling good. The lighting's awesome. All that good stuff. Okay. So I want to know what happened. Like, where did that creativity go? Because then I look at, like, Black Hawk Down and the Robin Hood film that he's done. Like, what happened to you?
Hey man, Black Hawk Down's a good movie.
Compared to Alien, I don't know. I mean, I even think Gladiator is probably a little overrated.
Dude, Gladiator's a fine film.
It's okay. I don't know if it was Oscar worthy, but it was pretty good. It was okay. I don't know. I just to be.
What, are you gonna shit on Thelma and Louise next?
I've actually never seen it before. Is that the one where they drive the car off the cliff?
Yes. Yeah. Why don't you pick another cinema legend of a movie and fucking say that it's not that good? All right. Next up, Blade Runner. Here it comes, guys.
Let me talk about Blade Runner. Really, in all honesty, the movie is not good until you get to the very end and they're sitting down and talking. I don't want to go into too many spoilers. I'm sure everyone's seen the movie already, but if you haven't, watch it. It's a slog to get through and you'll probably want to stop like I wanted to, but get to the end and it's all worth it. That's what made the film great. I don't know if I go back and watch it again, but that very end, that last 5 to 10 minutes where they're just sitting and talking is what made the film awesome. Everything else that probably should have made the film good just wasn't. It was boring. The characters were not that interesting. They were robots, and that's kind of cool. And the whole, like, where do you put a robot and a human? Like, where does that line cross? Like, that was kind of cool, but it didn't make up for the rest of the film being so slow and boring and uninteresting. But that end, though, that end makes it worth it. So yeah, that's definitely a good film. I would give that's a good mark on his portfolio. What happened? I guess I might.
I can't. I don't know, man. He's made some gems, in my opinion. Like, you can't. The director's supposed to have a spotless record, you know? What do you want? What do you want from the guy?
I think for the amount of praise he gets, I kind of think that like it's like Martin Scorsese. I don't think he's ever made other than The Departed. I don't know if he's ever made a bad film. There's been some that have done better.
You don't
than
like
others.
The Departed?
No, I really didn't.
Oh my
like,
gosh, Biggie. We are so different in terms of film taste.
No, it's okay. The Departed is an okay film. I don't like Leonardo DiCaprio. I felt like he was the biggest drag on the whole film because the guy, he can scream, he can yell, but he can't act. Every film he's in, the parts that are supposed to be like the big acting, like really making your mark, he's just yelling. He's a good yeller. And that just doesn't make his character any more interesting. Like in that movie, what do you call it, where he's like a fur salesman and he gets attacked by a bear.
You mean the movie
Remnant.
he won an Academy Award for?
Should have gone to Tom Harding. Tom Harding should have won that award because it's almost hard to imagine like him in that role. Tom Harding, like that's who he was. If you imagine that guy also played Bane, also played Shinzon in Star Trek 10.
Yeah. He's a
imagine.
chameleon. We get it, Biggie.
He's so good. You know, he's like, these furs are my life. And you like really feel it. Because I don't give two shits about furs. I just want to see the guy suffer in the woods and try to get something out of that. But like that guy's life, him being as rough as he was, and it just felt so raw and good. But then I've got fucking motherfucking what's his name? Leonardo DiCaprio, just like rolling around the woods crying and yelling, and I'm supposed to find that like he's so good. He's amazing. Here's you an Oscar, Leo. You deserve it. Like, fuck off. Fuck off. I couldn't see past him being Leonardo with a beard and a terrible accent.
I don't know, man. Like, he's played some pretty good roles. I like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, no. We are completely different. Oh, Jesus. No. I liked him in Growing Pains.
Yeah? Did you like him in Catch Me If You Can?
Tom Hanks is better, but I mean, Tom Hanks is just a solid actor.
What
It's
about The
hard to take the
Aviator?
spotlight from him.
Howard Hughes, man. Show me the blueprints. Come on.
He's yelling. He's just yelling.
He's not.
That's all
He
he does.
plays roles where he has to yell, Biggie.
I know. He's okay at yelling, but it doesn't. Just yelling doesn't mean drama. Like I never felt like he was anything but Leonardo DiCaprio being Howard Hughes. Like he just in those roles, which he gets cast for all the time. I could just never see past the actor. Where like who's the guy who's in the movie about knitting stuff? That was he's also in the Blood movie and Lincoln. I forget the actor's name.
Daniel Day-Lewis?
Thank you. Like he truly like gets into those roles where like Lincoln, I completely forget that's Daniel Day-Lewis. I can't remember his name just because I'm thinking of the role he played. Like he was Lincoln. He was that guy in The Blood. I don't remember the character's name. Whereas if you put Leonardo DiCaprio in that role, he would just be Leonardo DiCaprio with a bad accent yelling. And I just like Wolf on Wall Street.
You're unfairly
more yelling.
comparing him to one of the greatest actors of our generation.
He won an Oscar. He's in that level now. And now I'm saying that was a sham. That was some insider colluding because everyone was like, well, he didn't win an award. Like, fuck him. He doesn't deserve it. There's other actors who deserve it. But that's my very, very, very humble opinion. I'm in no way saying I'm completely right. I'm not saying I'm wrong either. But I think Leonardo needs to go away from Scorsese films so we can get someone with some real talent.
Wow.
That's just me. But anyways, Ridley Scott's still pretty much he's not really a hack. I'm kind of playing around with that. He's an okay director, but I think he gets a tad bit more credit than he deserves. But that's just me.
Yeah, just making like 5 cinema's most iconic movies ever. He doesn't deserve it. Come on, he made
Fair
Prometheus. The asshole. What a hack.
What a dick.
You need to cut him a break.
Oh, okay. Maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll calm down and maybe I need to watch Gladiator again. It has been a long time.
I was
It's
thinking
no
of firing
Braveheart.
that up yesterday, actually, just to see, because it's been on
Sure.
20 years since I've seen it. Pretty much, I think it came out 20
Man.
years ago.
Wow, that's shocking. That has been that long, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Man.
I was in middle school, and I remember my best buddy loved it. Loved that movie. But man, middle
Russell
school.
Crowe's great. I mean, he carried that whole film.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh,
What?
I
Overrated?
put him on the. Yeah, totally overrated. Oh my god! Don't even get me started on Joaquin Phoenix. All he did was just talking like a, "Hi, Russell Crowe, I'm crazy." Like that was his whole thing. Like, and he got a little angry at parts. Like he just talked in this like weird voice the whole time. I mean, you look at freaking Walk the Line. I mean, all he did was just his best Johnny Cash voice, and he
Bro,
did
you mean the movie
okay.
where he became Johnny Cash? Where he literally embodied the soul of Johnny Cash? That movie? Yeah, you're right. What a shitty
Yeah.
actor.
What a piece of crap. Reese Witherspoon did a good job, though. I gotta give it to her. She's probably one of my favorite female actresses. And she doesn't age.
yeah.
Like, she's in like her 40s, and she doesn't look like a day over 20. I don't get it.
Sometimes some people just got those genes.
Yeah, they certainly do, man. You looking forward to that Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie? I'm not.
I don't give a fuck about DC anymore, dude. They burnt
Dude,
all
it's
their
hard to
bridges
give a
with me.
fuck. Dude, it's so hard to give a fuck. Like, you know, and they have no excuse because they had Nolan laying the ball up for them. Like, he put he put those films on the map. He set them up to do something great. And they just fucking ruined it. Like, I can't shed any tears for them. The films are just garbage. They're just bad. So bad that the actors don't even want to be in them. Or at least the good ones like Ben Affleck. He doesn't want to be there. He's already gone. I actually heard they already... Yeah, he's gone. I don't blame him. Fuck him.
Henry Cavill's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Oh, did you see that? This is actually pretty recent news. The picture of him as Geralt. Is that how you pronounce it? Like they released the image of him and how he'll look in The Witcher.
Does he look good?
It looks fine. I think people have been memeing it to death, as you would probably imagine, and maybe part of it's kind of justified because the wig looks kind of rough. They probably need to do a little bit more to his face. He looks a little too like Legolas to me, just with white hair and a little more chiseled face. But he looks like Legolas. But
I'm
they need
looking
to
at
kind
him
of
right now. Yeah,
like it's okay. It's a start.
it looks like Henry Cavill wearing a white wig.
Yeah, it looks like that too. God, what a fraud. What a piece of crap. Oh boy. Man. Okay, I guess I better wrap it up. I could probably just keep yelling about something for the next like 30 minutes.
No, it's
all right,
fun.
But it is kind of fun. I like figuring out where your borders are, where I'm like, even if I'm not like totally like being truthful in my opinion, I like just knocking up against it and seeing your reaction. Gladiator is a fine film. I actually really, really enjoyed it, but it is a tad overrated. That's really my real opinion on it. Let's get to an email. We got another email. Oh, and speaking of which, we did receive 2 voicemails from the same number, but there was no audio. So I'm not sure if something might have been going on with your connection or hell, it could be Google Voice. It can be a little rough at times. But
maybe they got scared.
They may have gotten scared that I was going to totally shit on their opinion.
No, you'd never do that.
Oh, never, never.
If
never
Ridley
at all.
Scott came on this podcast, you'd be sucking his dick.
No, I would not. I would be like, sir, I am envious of your position in the world of film. I wish I could make shitty movies and be as popular as you are. But you know,
There's
it's just,
no way. There's no way. You'd be like,
I would.
hey, I really like Alien. It's a great movie.
Okay. That Robin Hood movie was brilliant.
I really like that Robin Hood. Remember when he shot the arrows? Wow.
Wow. No, I would be cordial. I would be very nice. Like, thank you for coming by, Mr. Scott. We're honored that you're here.
Oh,
Why
thank
are
you, Biggie.
so
I'll play.
bad at
Yeah,
film?
I'll play.
Oh,
I'll
you'll
play Ridley Scott. Yeah. Okay.
So
Thank you, Biggie, for having me on the podcast.
no, thank you, sir, for being here. So, in a few words, could you tell me why you're so god awful at film?
Okay, goodbye. Click.
Dude, just that alone would like make us go viral, man. That's how we make the money.
All right,
just
that's
shit
all
on
we
Ridley
need.
Scott.
Yeah,
That's all we
need to
need.
get a legendary director on the podcast and immediately take a giant shit down his throat. then we'll blow up.
People will love us. Well, here's our email. Oh, the person who sent the voicemails. Definitely try to call back again or send us a audio file with your question. We would love to hear it. Absolutely. But we got an email from a Ty Bellsprout, a big fan of the show, and we love hearing his correspondence. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, he's
Hey,
carrying
just okay.
this feedback session.
Oh, he's doing great. Hey, I love it. He's got some excellent questions. This one's a good one as well. Hey, just okay movies. Hope all is going well for you. Last week I saw Halloween, the sequel to the original Halloween, without seeing the original film. I thought it played the deaths and suspense very well. If the original is similar, I can see what made it iconic. In lieu of this, my question is, do you find yourself needing to be in a particular mindset for watching and forming an opinion on an older film? Ooh, that's a great question. And I would almost say for any, I would feel like I have to be in a mindset to watch almost any film, but especially an older one, especially if it's older than 30 years. Just, you know, you can only ignore the age of a film so much unless it's just truly iconic, like Alien. Like, if this was not Alien, and if it was some other film that maybe wasn't to the same quality, it would be tough to watch because you would really feel its age and maybe you wouldn't have as much patience for it. And hell, I mean, even watching the film like Citizen Kane, like I really wanted to go in and watch it. I mean, that's an old ass film, and in some ways it's kind of painful to sit and watch it because you just feel the age of it. But I think that is kind of marking of a good film, like Citizen Kane, is as old as it is, and there's been thousands of movies, you know, that's come after it. You can see why it's iconic, and it's the feeling of the film, the cinematography of the film, especially that was a little bit ahead of its time, even at that point. And you can see why it's iconic. The story, the big surprise ending at the end, it's great. But I totally agree. I have to kind of go into it knowing, all right, this is what I'm getting into. I don't have anything else I need to do, so I'm not thinking about something else. And then I'm jumping in. And I feel like, depending on the age, the further back I go, the more I have to ingrain my mindset to sit down and watch the whole thing through and not give up.
Yeah. Yeah. A fun thing about watching old movies, especially acclaimed old movies, is putting yourself in the mindset of the person that's watching it at that time. And then forming an opinion based on that. Like, just putting yourself in the shoes of someone who hasn't seen this kind of technology, who's never heard of this. You know, it's all fresh but it's something so great that it's withstood the test of time nowadays, that they get to experience that at that time, with a bunch of other people who are experiencing it for the first time. That's kind of why I like watching older movies, is for that feeling of just like, holy shit, like there's an audience that sat down, had no idea what they were getting into, and got to witness this,
Right.
And it's something like, you think to movies that come out nowadays, like what is going to have that effect? Like what when you enter a movie theater and you sit down and you watch, I don't know, fucking Infinity War or something, any of the Academy Award winners of the past few years, when you first sat down, did you is that a moment? Are you about to watch a movie that's gonna withstand the test of time and that people will be talking about for decades? And that's the fun of movies, you're part of history.
Yeah. No, that's really well said. I think you've mentioned that in the past about how you like to sit down and watch it and get to the mindset of the people who are sitting down and seeing that brand new, no knowledge of the material. Even at that point, they didn't have internet or anything to be able to look it up and kind of get into that mindset. And that's something I would really want to start trying. And because it's tough. It's kind of
when Alien started, films. And we were watching it together. The first thing I was like, Biggie, look at that set. Because the audience is like, holy shit. Like, wow, yeah. We're already transported. Back then, they were watching it in 1979. Like, whoa, this is a ship. This is a fucking spaceship that I'm on. And I don't know, it's just so cool to kind of put yourself in the shoes of the audience watching it at the time.
That is. That's a really good idea. I'm going to have to definitely try doing that. And that opening scene was fantastic. It really did set the tone. And because the set just looked great. And that's something I miss so much with especially sci-fi films these days. You might get some good looking sets, but like the outside, the models of the ships, like the ships in Alien look so good. And you just don't really get that anymore because it's expensive to build those things. And you got timing, you got to hang it and shoot it right where you can just render it on your computer for, maybe spend a couple hours out of your day making it look good. And so, yeah, I'm envious of those people back then, because it just looks so much more immersive, and it's kind of nice to go back and revisit that. But thank you, Tyler. Man, I appreciate your emails and all your correspondence, man. Keep it up. And hey, if you want to ask us a question or shoot us a comment, add to the discussion, we'd love to hear it. Shoot us an email at justokmovies@gmail.com. You can also go to justokmovies.com, go to the bottom of the page, and there is our phone number if you want to leave a voicemail. You can also attach a audio file to an email and send it as well if you prefer, whichever way you like. Shoot us a tweet at JustOKMovies. We want to hear all your thoughts. Please let us know. And that wraps up the horror movie month. And it kind of makes me sad.
Boo. Now we got to go back to watching just regular ass fucking non-horror movies.
How you feeling about Venom for the next one? I don't know why, but I really want to watch it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If I can find a decent copy to pirate that's not a cam, I'm down.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look around as well. Well, that's one thing we gotta figure out, are some films we need to watch. And hey, if you got any recommendations, we'd love to hear them. We actually got a list from our good friend Mountain Sage. We gotta start hitting those pretty soon. He had some pretty good ones on there. Some I've been wanting to see for a long time. I haven't seen any of the Toxic Avenger films, and those have been some that he recommended.
Oh, those are fun.
Those are, yeah, that's what I've heard. They're cult classics, and it's definitely some I'd like to jump in and see. So if you got any recommendations, well, we'd love to hear about them. Well, all right, guys. Gweedo, as always, thank you so much, my man. Great discussion. And you all take care. Have a lovely evening. Love you all. Take care.
Bye.